through Hartford Church, there were a bunch of Westsiders. There were probably about 8 of us. And we got together in a social club. And we formed a social club that lasted quite a while. The boys were reluctant to join us at first, but we were beginning to play at courting. So we had quite our share of boys, too. We had about eight boys and 8 girls in and out of that club. And we had the audacity, with 1 year of Latin, to name that club the Rex et Reginas, meaning the kings and queens. And we had a great deal of fun. I had got the shock of my life when we ran for offices and the monies that we raised. I forgot what purposes we were going to be using those for. And I said there were so many more attractive girls and so many fair-skinned girls, which was the status of the icon of beauty in those days, that I knew were going to win. But I did my share of collecting nickels and dimes, and we wrapped them with adhesive tape. There was no such thing as Scotch tape during this time. This was regular tape that we knew about. And we just wrapped them around and we turned our monies in. And there were homeowners and there were entrepreneurs and persons that had a much better salary backing than I did. And I just knew that either Shirley Bonner was going to be queen, or Gloria, or Shirley Graham, or one of these others. I knew that they were going to be queen. So when we had the culminating affair at the Nakarima Club, and they announced, and the winner of the king, and I've forgotten who that was. I forgot everything when they called my name out and said the winner of the queen was Jean Ernst Mayfield. I said, no, wasn't me. You know, I just knew it wasn't me. I was absolutely floored that I had been picked as the queen, but I was. I was still at Sampson. We didn't understand what was going on. The rumors that prevailed just scared us to death, and all this hatred scared us to death. It was a very sad time for children. And once again, we were sequestered, and we were not allowed to leave the porch, and not even leave the second step. You had to be up above the second step of the porch where parents could see you. And it was a very unpleasant time to be in Detroit. Then there were the Tuckers. The Tuckers owned a gas station, and Stanford's. I believe that's the correct pronunciation of his name. It may not be. But he owned a pool shop right up on Tarman Avenue, Stanton. That was the correct name. And that was a novelty to us for homeowners, now business owners. And one of the first pharmacists was on Moore Place. And further down Milford, there was Mason's drugstore. We were very proud to do business in those black enterprises in those days. There was a shoe shop. That was the Thompson shoe shop up on Milford. And there was a soda bar that we'd go to, in a candy store. We didn't have to go too far from the community to enjoy ourselves, and the neighbors were very nurturing. They would tell on us. All the dishes, the washing, some of the washing, because they had ringer washers. And a couple of times I'd get my hand stuck, because I would always be curious to see about that roller thing. And maybe as a kid I did it deliberately, so some of the others would have to do that. And the little of the ironing, because Mother was the best ironer in the world. She didn't trust us to iron much, except as we grew older to iron our own clothes. We had to do the dusting. Lots of furniture polish was used in those days. And if you had bare floors, furniture polish also went on your floors. So we did all the chores around the house. The $5 down pay that the Ford Motor Company was offering, and many of them came up to work originally. And my great aunt would make room for them. Like many of the neighbors, we put the old furniture in the basement, and that turned into the kids' playroom or the dad's poker room, one or the other. And our parents were no exception. I remember watching Leon Wheeler play baseball, maybe some of the others that I've forgotten. And I remember um, going back to Sampson, modern dancing, making things with our hands, and becoming acquainted with the arts and music, thanks to the ladies that guided us through those kind of activities. And when Green Pastures Camp hit, through the John Dancy was the head of the Urban League at that time. And I camped at Green Pastures from about the age of, I believe the youngest you could be would be 9, and the oldest around 14 or 15. So I camped there for about the 4 or 5 years of my early childhood, and then later went back to counsel as an adult. And those were extremely rewarding experience for children, and those camps were free.